What is going on, guys? Jay back with you today. I am bringing you a shootout commentary, something I haven't done in a while, but some breaking news just happened today. As I'm recording this, there was a major trade with Ottawa. Robin Lehner has been traded. Now, I know they wanted to trade a goaltender to begin with. Either Lehner or Anderson was going to be dealt, but it ended up being Lehner today, and the trade was, I'll just let you know now, Lehner and David Legwand. So it's an up-and-coming goalie and a third-line washed-up center to Buffalo for their first-round, or one of their first-round picks, being the 21st overall. Now, let me just give you what I think about this trade first, and I'll go into the pros and cons of all the different goalies. So Robin Lehner has a great upside to him, and he has the most future out of any of the goalies. And David Legwand, proven NHL guy, but doesn't really fit on Ottawa, and being he's either 33 or 34, somewhere in the older ages of hockey, to where he can't really perform as he used to. And going to Buffalo, kind of in the same division, I believe, and especially playing near to Ottawa, doesn't really help, or it helps them, but doesn't really help Ottawa. And then with the first round, 21st overall, obviously we don't know who that's going to be, but it's going to be later tonight that Ottawa takes that, or takes somebody, or even makes a different trade, or whatever the case may be. They will do something with the pick, either trade it or bring a new prospect into their system. So let's go on to the pros and cons. I'll start out with Craig Anderson. They said that he's the #1 overall, or their first goalie, their #1 guy. But the thing is, he's a proven NHL goaltender. Obviously, you can't get that past him. He's 34 years old, so he's obviously getting towards the end of his career. And he's not the long-term solution. So what I mean by not long-term solution is he's 34, so he doesn't have like a crazy career ahead of him. I mean, he's already been in the league a while, been with a couple different teams, and hasn't really found that correct fit. So I'm not really sure why he wasn't the one traded instead of Robin Lehner. But either way, Anderson, 34 years old, like I said, kind of not the long-term solution. Doesn't really sit well with me, at least. I know, being a proven guy, I understand that, but definitely not trading him instead of a younger up-and-coming guy doesn't really make sense. But speaking of young up-and-coming guys, Robin Lehner, 23 years old, a former second-round pick, had a great future, kind of been a little behind the scenes. He's never really had that starter role, and he's never really had the workload of a Craig Anderson, or even Hammond, for that matter, when he came up. The other thing is, he has the brightest future out of all of them. Anderson being 34, and I'll get to Hammond in a second. But he has the most upside, and that's why he's the most appealing to other teams, because he has everything that a team would want, especially if they're not doing so well, like Buffalo, or like an Edmonton, or Arizona, or whoever. And then Hammond, just a completely different story. So Hammond being a completely different story than the other ones, then you just have to realize he's 27 years old. He was 25 when he got him. He played in the AHL for 2 years. He was the backup goalie to, I believe it was Nate Lawson at one point, who ended up getting injured, and he took over as starter. And he doesn't really have much upside to him. He's 27, so he's kind of reached his growing stage. Especially only having him 2 years, undrafted out of college, you wouldn't really think that'd be a smart move, being kind of like halfway between like where you usually get drafted or when you usually get a player, being really young. And another thing, is he just a flash in the pan? Like, he had one good year, and they give him a 3-year contract. Now, I understand what he did. I understand that he had a great end of the year. But you also have to look at, would you rather trade a proven NHL goaltender or a guy with the most upside, being Anderson and Lehner, obviously? Which one would you rather trade out of those three? Personally, I would rather keep Lehner more than anybody. The reason I say that is because Anderson isn't that long-term solution, like I said before, and he doesn't really have many years left. Now, that sounds bad, but in hockey or any other sports, being the later 30s is usually where the age where you retire or end your career. Now, unless there's some type of injury or whatever to where you can't compete anymore, usually players play to around the 37, 38-year-old range. Now, 27's kind of halfway into your career to where you'd think he'd already be in the system, be already playing more than, what, 2 years, and then be given a 2-year or a 3-year contract. And, like, when I say upside, being 23 years old, having the potential, being a top-line draft pick, and being traded almost immediately, that doesn't really make sense. Now, you look at Anderson, Lehner, and Hammond as 3 NHL goaltenders. I personally don't agree with Hammond being an NHL goaltender yet. If he had another season like he did last year when he got him to the playoffs and then played 2 games in the playoffs and allowed 7 goals and choked. Now, I understand it could have been the team, it could have been whatever. But when Anderson comes in and goes 1-1 and I believe lost in overtime or lost by 1 goal and kept him in the entire game instead of playing 2 games and choking the playoffs, yes, he got him to the playoffs, yes, but he did not perform for them in the playoffs. So my overall liking of this trade is not at all. I don't like this trade at all. I like the fact that Legwand was in the trade. I like that fact. But when you look at the whole trade in general, Lehner and Legwand, okay, you have a 3rd line or 4th line center who's older for a 1st round pick. So you're telling me you'd rather trade an up and coming goalie and Legwand being an older 3rd or 4th line center for a 1st round pick. Now, the main thing I'm going to say is they should have gotten more. Now, if it was like a 1st and a 2nd or a 1st and a player, that would have been so much better. Now, it wasn't like Lehner was a bust like some of the other players. Like a Cowan, he's a 1st round pick. I believe 9th overall or something very high. And look what he's done. He's basically sat half of his career. He played in the AHL for a couple years or like 1.5 years or something like that. So I understand the fact that you want to give the guys that are hot a chance. But you have to look at what they're going to do for you in your future. Especially being the draft time and being around the draft and the signing stage, you want to get the players for your future. That's all I'm going to say for now, guys. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment to what you think. If you think I'm crazy or if you like what I'm saying, let me know in the comments because I would love to hear all of your guys' opinions. And subscribe for more. Anyway, guys, I'll see you later.